Says verse 3, then Mary took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. She poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. She took an expensive perfume. So I couldn't call any at 7:30, but in between services, some of the women of God came and informed my ignorance, because all I could talk about was growing up as a boy, and we had Brute, which was show stinking. We thought we were smelling good, but we'd have Brute on our feet, but some of the women of God told me about Christian Dior and Coco Chanel and Yves Saint Laurent. See, I don't know what it was, but I know it was an expensive perfume. And here it is. She poured it on Jesus' feet. Let's stop right there. See, stop reading by these accounts and not asking certain questions. In the time of Jesus, they had a certain form of shoe. It was an open-toe sandal kind of shoe. It was an arid environment where they walked around and their feet got dirty. She pours it. Oh, y'all better say something to me now, because some of us don't want to deal with our own feet. That's why we go and get pedicures at the spa. Am I talking right over here? Don't pay them no mind. Am I talking right over here? Oh, they got to take communion. Don't pay no attention. No. She pours it on the dirty part of Jesus' body. And not only does she pour it, this expensive perfume, on the dirtiest part of Jesus' body, she uses her hair. Let me tell you something. Whatever form of hair you may have, for men and women, we put value in our hair. Or those of us who used to have hair, we put value in it. Some folk pay hundreds of dollars. Oh, I know I'm talking right. Y'all sitting there, I know I ain't hollering, but I know I'm saying something in this church. She takes her hair, her valued personal possession, and uses it. To wash Jesus' feet, to anoint Jesus' feet. Let me tell you something. Whenever you read this, I want you to think about this. We know for a fact that Mary's there, Jesus is there, Martha's there, Lazarus is there, and we find out Judas is there. I believe there may have been some others there. If they were anything like folk I know, that's all. Let me just talk to the real folk. What in the world is she doing? Sometime me and Pastor Phillips. Y'all know how we do in church. Oh no, this is. I want to humanize this story. She ought to get up, and you know, some of us don't say it, but we think it. And then some of us think we whispering, but we not. If Mary don't hurt, what if she done lost her food, man? Am I talking real in the church? Because I know church folk like that. They won't say it to your face. But she doesn't pay any of that any attention. She does what she knows to be right. And let me say something. If you don't get nothing else from this sermon today, get this point. when something major is on the horizon, take your eyes off of others. Some of us will miss major looking at the frowns on somebody else's face. Some of us are going to miss major because we're too busy listening to what people have to say. And some of us give too much credence to what other folk have to say. And let me tell you, some of us have listened to the wrong people, and some of those people won't give you $2 to help you get where you're trying to be. And we keep putting too much credence in the folks are going to say what they want to say as long as they have a mouth. Stop listening to the foolishness. Stop buying into the mess, because God can take wherever you are, flip that thing around and use it to God's glory and to catapult you to where you're trying to be. I need for you to say this like me. Look at somebody and tell them, take your eyes off of others. Well, I think you should do so and so. And if I was you, you ain't me. Truth be told, some of us listen to the wrong folks, and that's why we got off track for 15 years in our life. Listening to the wrong folks, worried about what they think, letting them throw our past up in the face. Let me tell you something, don't you ever let anybody throw your past up in your face, because everybody in this church, including the pastor, has a past. And some of us don't like what's on the past, but how many folks have looked at God and God used some of that misery to take us to where we are now? And the next time somebody wants to throw your past up in your face, you look at them and point at them and tell them, that's under the blood now. Because the truth be told, we thank God that his blood covers a multitude of sin. His blood helps us to see and to go forward in the days ahead. Thank God for take your eyes off of other folk, because the truth be told, if you keep looking at them, you'll be distracted by the scowls on their face. Let them look ugly as much as they want to, but let God take you and prove every man or woman a lie in your life. There's some folks, Dr. Stacy, they didn't know about him until this week, until his tragic loss. I had learned about him through Pastor Damien Durr, Nipsey Hussle. Let me dwell here for a minute. Because, see, I listened to some foolishness some church folk had to say. If it hadn't done such and such. Let me tell you something, you better shut your mouth. Because one of the things I appreciated about a Nipsey Hussle was that he never denied the wrong in his past. But what he did say was this, that he decided to do something different with his life. And let me say something to you, saints of God. Don't put your mouth on folks unless you want somebody to put your mouth on you. Oh, see, that's why we don't want to clap in the church. Don't put your mouth on nobody else's children unless you want somebody to talk about your children. Here it is. He took the lessons he learned from his past and became an entrepreneur, began to give jobs to those who were released from prison as felons, because if you know anything about a felonious conviction, you can't get gainful employment with a felony. So he hired others. But see what he had to do, he had to stop listening to what everybody else had to say about him. Stop listening. Tell your children, stop listening to what everybody else has to say about them. What does God say about you? What does God affirm about you? God said you are the head, not the tail. God said you are above and not beneath. God said you are a royal priesthood, a chosen generation. God said you are a peculiar people, and if you're peculiar, stop trying to be like everybody else.